everyone, welcome back to the next edition of the Training Workstream vlog. My name's Emily and I'm the training lead for the BTP.
And I'm Will, training specialist from the WCB's transformation partner, KPMG.
This video is the next in a series of vlogs focused on the Core Solutions training workstream, through which we plan to share an insider view into our workstream's activities, some of the training content development, and our plans for deploying training ahead of this phase's go live in October of 2025.
Absolutely. In today's vlog, we would like to share with you a bit of insight into one of the earliest activities for our work stream, which was a training vision workshop that we held with project leaders. Shall we get into it?
Let's go.
Amazing. So, Emily, would you like to share a little bit more about what this vision workshop was all about, when it was held, and why we held it right at the very beginning of our work together?
Yeah, for sure. So if you recall, Will, this was one of our very first collaborative sessions together, where KPMG and WCB really came together as a team and held this training vision session with project leaders. Now, the audience for this was project leadership as well as business leads who were really representing their areas within the business. And it was held way back in October of 2023. Again, really at the beginning of our workstream's activities. Now, the whole purpose of this workshop, we really needed to identify kind of 4 key things before we could really move on with any of the other work that we had to do. The first was identifying learning goals. So learning goals are those specific measurable outcomes that an organization aims for in a training initiative. And they really need to be aligned with those broader organizational objectives. The second piece was around the design principles. Now, design principles are guidelines that help shape the content of a training program and the learner experience. So that could be like content themes, training settings, engagement strategies. The third is identifying design parameters. And these are guidelines that define the structure and constraints of a training program. What are those kind of fence posts that we have to work within? The available resources, the delivery methods, the timing, the duration of training, all of those things really need to be considered. And finally, the fourth piece is around key performance indicators, so those KPIs. And those really measure or inform how we measure the success of a training program. So that was sort of the intent behind it. Now, Will, do you want to get into a little bit more about the session itself and what we're planning on using that information to help inform later activities?
Absolutely. So this session was highly interactive. It was virtual. We used Miro to create spaces where all the participants could put their ideas down on virtual post-its. And so we gathered tons of ideas for each of those 4 buckets. Once we had collected them, Emily and I had a lot of fun, taking them, sorting them, theming them, and eventually we use that information to create statements that form our North Star. That we know what the vision is for the WCB, and through this training program, what training should look like. And we learned a lot from this session. So, I mean, just a sample, include, not just learning how to use the new system, once we go live, but knowing how that system, integrates with other teams that are going to be using it. Let's, break down silos, see how other teams are going to be, following new processes in the future. Not just even just how to use the system, but, how through this training program can we, teach new ways of collaborating, sharing knowledge, communicating with each other. What are some new leadership skills that we can learn through this experience? It was a really cool session that gave us a lot of perspective into what we're going to be building towards. But what were some of the takeaways from your side from this workshop?
What I really loved was hearing all of the business leads and what they are hoping we can achieve through this training program. Even something as simple as making sure, from our perspective, we came in with a bit of a I guess you could call us newbies. We didn't really know too much about the business. So hearing about, the importance of the keep the lights on mentality, that we have a business to run, we need to make sure that we're scheduling our training in short bite-sized pieces. Even the training environment, mimicking exactly how it will be once they're in their day-to-day work. Some of those key components were really interesting, and I felt like it was a valuable experience to go through.
100%. So from that experience, we now have, at that point, we had this sort of path forward. And the next steps from there is that these informed the process of better understanding the WCB's learners and what they need. And that was what we called the learning needs analysis and assessment process. So in the next vlog that we have with you, we're going to tell you all about that. So be sure to stay tuned for that. But before we let you go, you will notice that on this SharePoint that you can email us your questions. There will be an email address below this video. If you have any questions as to, how we came about this training program, what was that process? What is it you're going to experience, when it's your time to go through the training process and training experience, email us your questions, let us know. And in future videos, we're going to address that and share with you our insights and perspectives. So we definitely look forward to it, and do stay tuned.
We'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.